Diamond C Fundamental for Success number 25, Celebrate Success. Catching people doing things right is more effective than catching people doing things wrong. Regularly extend meaningful encouragement and appreciation in all directions. Have fun and celebrate one another's wins, learning, progress, accomplishments, and milestones along the way to affirm our values and build up a culture of success. So, John, thank you for joining me for a few minutes this morning to share some of your perspective and ideas on this fundamental.
Excited to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So this fundamental is one that, as an organization, we struggle with a bit, which we'll talk more about here shortly. But it's one that I think you do a pretty good job with, whether it's just acknowledging learning and progress or giving a fun, sometimes a little bit quirky surprise gift or something like that. You keep it lively oftentimes, and I appreciate that. So you've been here almost a year. And I was wondering, can you share some examples of where or how you've seen this fundamental lived out and the difference that it's made?
Yeah. I think probably the most interesting example of that is something that the IT team did, actually. Mm-hmm. So Chris Haller, our director of IT, implemented this award called the Bomb.
Yeah.
It's a little bomb.
Yeah.
And it goes to the service rep that had the most support tickets for a given week. It's a passing award. It goes from team member to team member. And it's had this really cool effect of, one, it's driven the guys on that team to really push for it. Like, they really want to earn that award. Mm-hmm. But two, it's become this kind of fun bragging rights trophy that they can talk about. And the rest of the organization kind of gets behind it. Like, there's definitely some amount of, hey, so who got the bomb this week? Who's picked up the award?
Yeah.
So I think that's a really cool example. Just this little traveling trophy and this small recognition of, like, hey, you pushed it. I think something else we've done, something that you implemented, like, we have some of these major projects, and there are times where we get to the finish line and we're already halfway starting to work on the next project. Right. And we're struggling with the things that, like, hey, well, this didn't go perfect, so we're already in postmortem mode, and we struggle to take a breath and just kind of smell the roses and celebrate what we accomplished. Yeah. So, we started doing these facility ribbon cuttings where it's like, hey, we have finished, we onboarded this new facility. So the dump fabrication building is at capacity. We're ready to go. We're moving. Yeah. Let's just take a moment and reflect on that and thank the team that made it possible. Yeah. Even though many of those team members are already off to the races
for sure.
On the next thing.
For sure.
And I think everybody just kind of appreciates that. It's that moment of, like, you forget what you've already accomplished because you're solving the next problem.
Right.
So I think there's the more, these are some big ones. These are more meaningful. I think some of the small things are probably the biggest impact I've seen. Mm-hmm. Things like, in Slack, another one that you and Jacob did, go over and do a design review on something that the engineering team did, engineering prototype, and then just post publicly where the whole company, the whole group can see, like, hey, we saw this work you did. We think it's fantastic. We really love this new prototype. And the engineers that worked on that and the guys that worked on that prototype are walking around with this glow about them for days after. Yeah. Just that encouragement and recognition of, like, this small step was a huge win. And that's so small and actionable. Just like, point out something cool that you did. Yeah. Compliments from other departments are a big deal. Yeah. I love it when, some of the guys in ops are really good at this. Hey, John, just want to say, like, had an interaction with some of your new engineers and we were working on this thing together, and, like, they did just such a fantastic job. Right. And it's like, and I love that. And that gives me something to pass along. Like, hey, I want you to know the quality guys said this about you and they think you're doing a wonderful job. So thank you and keep it up. And, like, that's so simple, but it's, again, you can see the glow on them where they're like, okay. And it helps forge that relationship between these other groups. It gives me an opportunity to say, like, you guys.
Yeah, great. For sure. Man, those are all powerful stories. And I can just imagine what it feels like to be on the receiving end of each of those. And I think that's what's so powerful about it, right?
Yeah, it's that you get these people, make them sure they feel appreciated, which then, drives them. And really they're inspired. It's like, how are we inspiring these people to want to do more? Right. I think it also, on a more tactical, measurable way, helps set expectations for what is good work,
Right.
what is extraordinary.
Right.
If you or one of the other senior leaders or one of the other veterans publicly to the whole company says like, this was great work.
Right.
Okay, well now we've put a stake in the ground for like what great work is. Everybody can see that and realize like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And like, it's a compliment, but it's also this opportunity to drive that inspiration for that next level extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I think it's also, recognition, any kind of recognition makes people feel valued, makes them want to push harder. And also if we take the time to pinpoint any kind of success, any kind of win, success breeds confidence, confidence breeds success. So in some ways winning is like gravity. You start to win and then you start to expect to win. Right. And then it just gets easier and easier and easier.
Yeah. The word that's just echoing in my mind the whole time you're talking right now is affirm, because I think it affirms values, affirms extraordinary, but it also affirms people as individuals, as humans. And that's so much of what we all want at the core, right, is to be accepted, to be safe in knowing that, we're valued, understood, appreciated. And powerful force there. So as I mentioned in the intro, the leadership team at Diamond C has recognized a few times along the way that this is one of the fundamentals that as a total organization, despite all the stories that you just told, that we are not as good at as we'd like to be.
We have opportunities.
We have opportunities to improve. As, you just told stories. It's not something that's non-existent, but we all know that we could be better and stronger at celebrating success along the way. We acknowledge the power and the benefits, just like you and I just discussed. We acknowledge the power and the benefits of celebrating success and having fun. We're just not awesome at it yet. So why do you think that is, and how do you think that we can get better at it?
So two aspects of it. One is I really think the biggest piece of it is that I think most people struggle to identify the win, identify the moment of success that should be celebrated. And that's especially true in a very driven organization with strong goals and strong ambitions. We don't stop and smell the roses.
Right.
And that's where, even in a department meeting, it's like, hey, any wins we should be talking about, anything we want to celebrate. That's a struggle mostly because, one, people don't think about it wins. A lot of times we're thinking about the next problem. Right. We're thinking about what we can improve.
Forward focus.
Continuous driven people. The difficulty there is, okay, how do you find the small success there? And on the engineering side, we've tried to break it down a little bit, not to make it. How do you make it a little bit more systemic? So there's different kinds of wins. You can win by beating your goals, which is obviously the easiest one.
Right.
And then if you do that, take the time to celebrate
Sure.
it. Easy recognition. Like, we beat our goals. Cool. Let's take a moment to celebrate that. Another is to win against an opponent, which is sometimes good, sometimes difficult. Like, you don't always have a clear opponent that you want to beat.
Right.
Hey, engineering group A, engineering group B, like, which one's going to come out on top here? The design off. That's fun. You can celebrate the winner.
Cool. That's cool.
You beat yourself. I'm never going to win any kind of running races. But I celebrate when I set a personal best.
Yeah.
And one that I read about, which is really interesting, is like, just beat the bar. It's like we say, like, hey, any team member or let's use the IT example, any support member that achieves X number of ticket requests in a given week, like, they automatically get the gold star award for this week. Like, it's just like you've achieved that level of excellence. Any trailer line that does a certain level of performance, we immediately recognize them all. And it's not, the line doesn't change. It's just an opportunity to win that, that significant milestone of excellence. Like, you've hit that target that, hey, no matter what you're doing, no matter what your goals are, no matter what the circumstances, if you do this, it's like we all pause and celebrate that.
Right.
I think the more interesting stuff, and this comes back to more of my engineering background, is like, engineers are students in how things fail. And, in a strong, innovative, iterative driven design process, it's like, it's not going to work the first time.
Right.
and there's a Winston Churchill quote which I love, which is success is going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm.
Yeah.
It's like, so how do you just acknowledge the fact that, like, yeah, this failure that we have right now is actually worth celebrating. Like, celebrate what we learned from it. How do we grow from this?
Right.
Sometimes a way to do this is turn your wins into loss, or turn your losses into wins. Like, how do we turn this negative moment into a growth moment, and then celebrate that growth moment, accept it for what it is.
Right.
So that's another way to twist it. And then again, you start celebrating those learning moments, and then success breeds confidence. Confidence breeds success. The wins start coming more and more.
Absolutely.
And it gets powerful.
Absolutely. So I think that, the authenticity with which we celebrate success is really important, of course. And I think that's some of the challenge that we walk around here with a group of high growth oriented individuals. We have big, lofty goals, of course. I mean, you are very well aware, big, lofty goals in so many ways. And it oftentimes is difficult to pinpoint as you said, the progress of the learning along the way. I think that many folks around struggle with, we don't want to celebrate the learning as a consolation for not accomplishing the goal.
We're here to win in the long run. It doesn't mean we have to win every single battle along the way.
True. So how then, talking about how important it is that our celebrating success is meaningful. That's what it says in the fundamental itself, meaningful encouragement. We've all kind of gotten that participation ribbon before that was fairly meaningless. So how do we avoid that and make sure that our celebration efforts are genuine and sincere?
So I think there are times where you can get the participation ribbon and it's meaningless, but you can also get the big award and it's meaningless.
For sure.
And I think it comes down to a word that you said earlier, which is authenticity. It's like, you have to... Respect is the currency of the world.
Right.
So it's like, if you respect the people that are recognizing your success, it makes it easier that whatever that recognition is, you're going to appreciate it more.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is just building relationships, understanding that the teams that are being celebrated and the people that are celebrating them need to have trust, need to have a strong relationship, and understanding of what matters to them. And I think some of that comes back to, it's just knowing the person, having a relationship with them. For some people, their blue ribbon might be a pie. Okay, Billy likes pie. Cool. That's the way we're going to celebrate.
Pie?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Okay.
I'll take all the pies.
Now I know.
Yes. Yes.
I think the other thing is to build authenticity around something, especially like, hey, if we're breaking goals down and we're showing that this is a meaningful step, how do you get meaningful? Well, it's impact. How do you make sure everybody understands the impact of what we're celebrating?
Yeah.
Because even if it's a meaningful failure that caused large growth, if we can tell that story with authenticity and explain the impact of why it's important, then everybody understands, like, oh, this is a big win.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. So we know it's a powerful force. Celebrating success is a powerful force. Thank you for your tips and perspective. I think you said so many things that will be valuable to anyone out there that is yearning for growth and success. Remember to stop and smell the roses along the way, and to celebrate growth, learning, and milestones. Affirming progress in one another absolutely fuels growth and success.